If you're anything like me, you've stood in front of a cheese counter, just captivated by those bloomy rind cheeses, that soft, creamy look, the white velvety rind. It really pulls you in.
Oh, absolutely. It's a fascinating corner of the dairy world.
And you hear that saying, right? All Bries are Bloomy Rinds, but not all Bloomy Rinds are Brie. It sounds a bit like a riddle.
It does, and it's a really common point of, well, confusion. People often think they're just the same thing.
Yeah.
But today, in this deep dive, we're going to use our source, Bloomy Rind Cheeses, Brie and beyond, to kind of unravel that. We'll look at the science, the tradition, the geography, all of it.
Okay, great. So let's just get right to it then. What exactly is a Bloomy Rind? Is it the cheese itself, or...?
That's the key thing. Bloomy Rind isn't really a name for a specific cheese. It actually describes the cheese-making technique.
Ah, okay, a technique.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It refers to how cheesemakers deliberately cultivate specific white molds on the cheese's surface. We're mainly talking about Penicillium camberta. Maybe you've heard of that one?
Vaguely familiar, yeah.
And also Geotrichum candidum. These aren't accidents. They're very much intentional.
Right, so it's like a tiny planned garden growing on the cheese. What do these molds actually, do? How do we get that amazing creamy texture?
Well, this is where the magic or science happens. Think of these molds like microscopic workers. They start on the outside, on the rind,
Okay.
and they slowly work their way inward. They basically melt the cheese from the outside in. That's how you go from a firmer curd to that really soft, luscious texture everyone loves.
Wow.
But it's not just texture. These molds also produce enzymes, powerful ones. And these enzymes break down proteins and fats in the cheese.
And that's where the flavor comes from.
That's exactly it. That breakdown creates those really rich, complex flavors, buttery, nutty, sometimes even those earthy, mushroomy notes. It's a total transformation.
Microscopic workers. I like that. So this blooming technique, it's not just for one cheese or even one country then. It's used more widely.
Oh, absolutely. It's a universal process, really. Cheesemakers all over the globe use this technique. From the really traditional dairies in France
Right.
to really innovative producers, maybe in California or elsewhere.
Yeah.
It's like a shared language in cheesemaking.
Okay, that makes sense. So we understand the technique now, the bloomy rind part. Let's pivot to Brie itself. If bloomy rind is the how, then Brie must be a specific what?
Right. Exactly. Brie is definitely a specific, very famous member of this Bloomy Rind family. But here's the crucial distinction.
Okay.
Authentic Brie, the real deal, only refers to cheeses made in a very particular region of France. They follow these centuries-old traditions and really strict rules. Specifically, we mean Brie de Meaux and Brie de Melun.
And these aren't just like guidelines. There's real legal force behind it, kind of like champagne only coming from Champagne.
That's a perfect analogy,
Yeah.
yes. These specific Bries have what's called PDO status, protected designation of origin in Europe.
PDO.
It's serious legal protection. It dictates everything. The milk, for instance, has to be raw cow's milk from that area.
Raw milk. Interesting.
Yep. And the size of the cheese wheel, the aging process. It's all spelled out in detail, exclusively for that Brie region. They're also typically aged for less time than some other Bloomy Rinds.
Wow, that's specific.
It really is. And this protection, it's about preserving the unique character that comes from that specific place, the climate, the pastures the cows graze on, the whole cheese-making heritage. It makes true Brie, well, unique, an expression of its origin.
So this raises a big question for, someone like me just browsing in the store. When I see Brie on a label, am I always getting that Brie, the French PDO one?
That's where it gets a bit tricky, and where knowing the difference really helps you as a consumer. If you just see Brie on the label without that PDO mark or specific regional name like Dumaux,
Yeah.
then the name is being used generically. This means cheesemakers anywhere, including here in the U.S., can make a Brie-style cheese.
Ah, okay. Brie style.
Exactly. And these versions might be different. They might use pasteurized milk instead of raw, for example. Or they might have different aging times or methods. They don't have those strict geographic ties.
So they're not trying to be fakes, necessarily. More like inspired by the original.
Precisely. Think of them as an homage. They're often really lovely, creamy cheeses in their own right. They capture that bloomy rind appeal, but they definitely have their own character. Sometimes that reflects the local milk or the cheesemaker's specific approach. They're an important part of the whole picture.
Okay, that clears things up a lot.
Yeah.
And speaking of the whole picture, this is where it gets really exciting for me. If Brie is just one type, what other amazing bloomy rinds are out there? The variety must be huge.
Oh, it's wonderfully diverse.
Yeah.
Beyond Brie, you've got its famous cousin, Camembert de Normandie.
Mhm.
That one also has PDO protection, its own rules. It's usually smaller than Brie, often a bit more intense in flavor, maybe more savory.
Right, I've seen that smaller wheel.
Exactly. Then you have others like Coulommiers, which is kind of like a thicker Brie, or Brillat Savarin.
Ooh, I know that one. Triple cream, right?
That's the one. Famously rich and decadent. It's a triple cream bloomy rind. And cheeses like these, they show variations in size, cream content, texture,
Right.
but they don't always have the same super strict geographic ties as Brie de Meaux or Camembert de Normandie. Still fantastic cheeses, though.
And it's definitely not just a French thing anymore, is it? American cheesemakers have really jumped in.
They absolutely have. There are some incredible American originals using the Bloomy Rind style. Really creative stuff.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Okay, well, think of Humboldt Fog from Cypress Grove in California. It's a goat cheese, tangy, and it has that really distinctive line of vegetable ash right through the middle.
Yes, I love that one. The ash looks cool, but it adds something, doesn't it?
It does, a bit of earthiness. Or how about Harbison from Jasper Hill Farm in Vermont? That one's wrapped in spruce bark.
Wrapped in bark. Seriously.
Yep, spruce bark. And it gives it this amazing, woodsy, almost savory aroma and flavor. It's unique. And then there's Met Tam from Cowgirl Creamery in Northern California. A super lush, buttery triple creme. Just pure decadence.
Wow. The bark, the ash. It shows how versatile the technique is, doesn't it? It's not just about following one recipe.
Spot on. It highlights that Bloomy Rind isn't just a formula, it's more like a canvas. These American examples really celebrate local ingredients, different milks, that creative cheesemaker spirit. It proves how adaptable this whole approach is. You can innovate while respecting the science, you know.
Definitely. So putting this all together, what does this mean for you, the listener, next time you're faced with all those choices? Maybe at a great cheese shop like a Murray's Cheese inside a city market or somewhere similar?
Well, it means you're going in armed with knowledge. You know, there's this whole world out there. You can find authentic PDO Bries if you look for them, but also fantastic Brie-style cheeses and all these other amazing artisanal Bloomy Rinds like the American ones we mentioned. They're accessible. And understanding that difference between the technique or style and the specific protected identity of the cheese like Brie de Meaux, it just makes tasting them so much richer, I think. You're not just eating cheese, you're kind of appreciating its whole backstory.
Absolutely. So, okay, we've taken quite a journey here. We've looked at the science behind that beautiful rind.
The microbiology.
Right, the microbiology, and then the importance of place, of geography for authentic Brie. And then we explored this huge, diverse family of other Bloomy Rinds, the classics and the newer innovations.
Yeah, when you boil it down, savoring a slice of Brie or Humboldt Fog or any of these cheeses, you're really tasting this incredible blend. It's microbiology meets tradition. It's geography meets cheesemaker innovation.
That's a great way to put it.
It really is. It's a delicious reminder that food, especially cheese, isn't just fuel. It's culture, it's science, it's history, it's art, all melded into one bite. So maybe next time you pick up a cheese or any food you love, just take a second. Think about what deeper stories might be hiding in there. What traditions or surprising bits of science are behind something you enjoy every day. There's usually more to it than meets the eye.